Last year, I said the Galaxy Watch Ultra could be the best Android smartwatch that you can buy, and after 30 kg of weight loss, incredible gains in my overall fitness, and the release of the Galaxy Watch 8, I've actually changed my mind. This is the Galaxy Watch Ultra after 1 year of usage, and Samsung say you'll get up to 100 hours of battery life with it, but let's see if there's any truth in that. There isn't a single battery life answer. It does really vary from day to day, but my safe zone is between 1.9 days to 2.5 days of battery life. That's 2 full days of fitness tracking, 2 full nights of sleep tracking, and then on occasion a little bit of extra on top of that. And for reference, that's with always on display off, continuous heart rate and stress on, and then no power saving modes activated. What I will activate though is sleep mode. I turn this on just before I go to sleep. This just stops the watch from powering on during the night, but you still do get use of all your sleep tracking metrics. As a reference point, I tend to lose between 6 to 8% every night of sleep tracking. That's during the 6 to 7 hours I typically sleep for. On true rest weeks when there's no use of workouts or GPS, I can genuinely stretch the Galaxy Watch Ultra past that 3-day mark, which is pretty decent. Now, if you're not seeing similar numbers, I've discovered that your watch face could very well be a factor of this. I found that stock Samsung watch faces typically work best for saving on your battery life, especially if you switch to that new-ish night mode. But what's made an even bigger impact for me is turning always on display off. That has been responsible for over 50% of battery drain in some cases, and turning off GPS will also help a little bit too. The good news, after 12 months, the battery health feels basically unchanged. Despite heavy usage, it doesn't feel degraded at all. It still feels like new. But about that power saving mode, Samsung's claimed up to 100 hours of battery life with the Galaxy Watch Ultra if you do activate that mode, and if I'm being perfectly honest, I haven't been able to replicate these results. It does have its place and it's great if you're going away for a long time, but it's worth using it knowing the trade-offs. There's also the exercise power saving mode, and I'll be honest, I just really don't like it. I see it as a little bit pointless. It kills all the audio cues you get from your running coach and also kills the GPS, which at that point you might as well just not use the watch or just go ahead and charge it. And speaking of charging, we should probably talk about my Galaxy Watch Ultra charging routine. I'll absolutely avoid charging the watch overnight. I think this just helps protect the battery and the longevity of the device in general. And instead, I'll go ahead and charge whenever I'm idle. I won't chase 100%. I'll just opportunistically add juice whenever I get a spare moment. And this routine gives me pretty much endless battery life with the Galaxy Watch Ultra. Now, charging times for 0 to 100%, you're looking at around about an hour and 40 minutes. And honestly, if Samsung can't work out a way to get a bigger battery inside the Galaxy Watch, a major win in the near future would be faster charging times, and I think it's one of the main things that I think is missing from the Galaxy Watch Ultra at the moment. Funnily enough, what's really made me appreciate the Galaxy Watch Ultra's battery life though is actually the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic. I'll rant about that in its own review, so please do make sure you're subscribed and leave a like if you're enjoying this video, but the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic's battery life in comparison to the Galaxy Watch Ultra felt pretty terrible. Overall, I'm genuinely really happy with the Galaxy Watch Ultra's battery life. Of course, more battery is always going to be welcome, but I'd argue if in the next generation of Galaxy Watches, if we're only going to get a couple of extra hours of battery life, I actually think that faster charging speeds is more important. So let me know down below, what do you think is more important, faster charging speeds or more battery life? So it goes without saying that I'm really happy with the Galaxy Watch Ultra's battery life, but what about its fitness tracking and accuracy? Well, I've got a lot of good things to say. I use Strava a lot, which is a really good benchmark to test the Galaxy Watch Ultra against because they are so strict on their metrics. And one thing I also want to say is that between using my S25 Ultra and my Galaxy Watch Ultra, there really is little to no difference between the results from the two. So overall, really happy with the GPS data. There is one more thing I need to say about that later on in the video though. Another thing we should talk about though is the connectivity. One thing that I noticed when I go running in a group is that all my friends with Garmin watches and Apple watches, there tends to be quite a significant delay between their watches connecting to GPS. The Galaxy Watch Ultra seems to be near enough instantaneous. I really can't think of a single time I've ever had to wait for the watch to connect to GPS. It's always been super reliable. We also need to talk about heart rate accuracy though, and this is a really important one for me. So yes, of course, we can take the Galaxy Watch Ultra into a lab and test it against medical grade equipment, but I really don't think that actually matters. What I think matters is real world results, and I'm going to back this with my own 1 year of testing. And you can see here that from the start, when I started running, you can see this huge drastic increase in my running pace and my overall fitness, and this is 100% all due to the Galaxy Watch Ultra. And I said at the start I've lost so much weight and this is a really big achievement for me, but actually I think the increase in my overall fitness and running ability is actually an even bigger achievement for me. And again, this is all down to the Galaxy Watch Ultra. Throughout this journey of self-improvement using Galaxy Watch Ultra's data, I've really relied on those heart rate zones. It's got it pretty much spot on. The Galaxy Watch Ultra has trained me to know when I'm pushing too hard or when I've got a little bit more left to give, and this has helped me really go from a very quite far below average runner to, I guess you could even say, an above average runner now. One funny thing we do need to discuss though is its steps accuracy. Now in general, if I take this for a 100 step test for example, it'll get it pretty much spot on, but one weird thing I have noticed is phantom steps when you're driving, and it kind of annoys me a little bit because I really do think that we've got the technology, especially with AI these days, for the Galaxy Watch or at least your phone to automatically detect when you're driving and turn off steps tracking so you don't get these phantom results throughout the day. So this is definitely something that I want to see in future versions of the Galaxy Watch or a new update. The other thing that we need to discuss when it comes to fitness tracking though is sleep. Now, sleep tracking on the Galaxy Watch Ultra is probably one of the most important metrics. It feeds into pretty much everything like your energy score, sleep score, and even the new vascular load feature, which we'll touch more on shortly. But after a year of testing, I have to be honest, it's not actually that accurate. Don't get me wrong, it's great for general tracking. And again, if you look at my metrics, you can see that I've seen genuine improvements using the Galaxy Watch Ultra's data. Where it really struggles and does seriously skew your results is in the mornings when I'm just laying there idle, not really asleep, but also not moving. The Galaxy Watch really does struggle to tell the difference between the two. On top of that, on the opposite end of the spectrum, there's a lot of points in the night that the Galaxy Watch indicates that I'm awake when I definitely wasn't. But my verdict on the sleep tracking is, again, although it seems like I've got a lot of bad to say about the sleep tracking, it is really good for giving you an insight into your sleep. And can we really blame a smartwatch for not knowing the difference between you sleeping or just lying very still in bed? I'm not sure we can. What I can say is that based off a year of genuine heavy usage, you can see clear increases in pretty much everything apart from my stress levels, and all of these improvements were made using the Galaxy Watch Ultra's metrics. That being said, to be able to sleep in the Galaxy Watch Ultra, it needs to be comfortable, so let's talk about the design and comfort. So I want to talk about comfort first. The Galaxy Watch Ultra for me has been super comfortable when running, during long gym sessions, and especially sleep. The Watch 8 Classic by comparison is a tad bit smaller, it's much lighter, and you could even argue it's comfier for smaller wrists, but not enough that I'd pick it over the Galaxy Watch Ultra. On the build side of things, we've got some really premium materials. Obviously the Galaxy Watch Ultra is made of titanium, and then we've got that sapphire crystal display and a 10 ATM water rating. A year in, mine has got pretty much zero damage, there's no shatters, no deep scratches, just the tiniest hairlines on the case if you really go hunting in harsh light. Sweat and salt water really haven't bothered the Galaxy Watch Ultra at all. I've taken this for a few sea swims and many runs. Design wise, I really do like the look. Samsung obviously introduced that new squircle design, which was a little bit controversial when it first came out, but for me, I've really learned to love it, and it is actually a testament to some of their original older Galaxy Watches. I do wonder if Samsung could actually push the watch to a more luxurious look next year as opposed to rugged, just to match up with the watch's performance. We've obviously still got a little bit of rubber and plastic around the edges, and it'd just be really nice to see Samsung get rid of those bits and go down a more premium route. On the practicality side of things, I really do like the buttons on the Galaxy Watch Ultra. All of them I use, and all of them have their own use case. For example, the center action button, I use this to start my running workout immediately so I don't have to scroll through the watch. It's been really quite brilliant. And then in comparison to the older Galaxy Watch 6, we've got that redesigned watch strap system, which has been absolutely brilliant. Still works the same as it did on day one. And weirdly, in comparison to the new Galaxy Watch 8 and Watch 8 Classic, I'm actually noticing that this is actually much easier to reattach straps on. The Galaxy Watch 8 Classic strap system was meant to be revolutionary, but I just don't find it as easy as the Galaxy Watch Ultra. Sure, it means the Galaxy Watch 8 sits closer to your wrist, making things more accurate, but from testing the Galaxy Watch 8 as well, I really haven't noticed any difference between the accuracy of that and the Galaxy Watch Ultra. What also appeared with the Galaxy Watch 8 was One UI 8, which we've now got on the Galaxy Watch Ultra 2024 version as well. Now, obviously this year we've got two Galaxy Watch Ultra variants. We've got the 2024 version and of course 2025 version. There's pretty much no difference between the two other than a bit of additional storage, but one of the many similarities between the two watches is One UI 8. Now, One UI 8 has been available on the Galaxy Watch Ultra 2024 version for a couple of months now, and I don't love it, but it has got some cool new features. I'll talk about what I like about One UI 8 first. It's definitely, in my opinion, a design-led update. All of the colors seem to pop a little bit more. We've now got multi-tiles, mixed opinions on them. I really do like the look of them, but I'm not too sure on the practicality side of things. And then it also looks like we've had a little bit of an overhaul on the apps drawer as well. Again, completely subjective as to whether you like that or not. The other new feature though, of course, is that antioxidant tracking. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't actually used it all that much, if at all. I think this is purely because it's not a passive automatic feature, but I still do maintain that the more features and ways that you have to track your health on the Galaxy Watch Ultra is a massive win for Samsung and a massive win for you. And on that note, we've also got the new vascular load feature. Now, this is a passive background automatic tracking feature, if you like. And again, it's just really nice to have another additional insight into what is going on in your body. And all of this happens when you're sleeping, so it's really no effort at all to make use of this feature. Again, really nice to get for free on your Galaxy Watch Ultra 2024 version. The not so good about One UI 8 is that all my running metrics have been a bit skewed since I did the One UI 8 update. In the past, the GPS accuracy was never an issue, but now it seems to be a little bit out, especially when compared to Strava. I also noticed that my heart rate zones also got a bit skewed. When I did my first run after the One UI 8 update, it was all a bit funny, like things just weren't measuring up. Usually I can really rely on the Galaxy Watch Ultra's metric, and I really back what I said earlier in general about the accuracy of the Galaxy Watch Ultra, but something funky definitely went on when I did the One UI 8 update. Now, moving on, increasing numbers of people are actually buying smartwatches like this for their smart features as opposed to fitness tracking. And I have to say, if you are buying a Galaxy Watch Ultra more for the smart features, it's actually pretty brilliant. Yes, apps are still kind of limited because developers just simply aren't making apps for smartwatches at the moment, but you've got things like Smart Things that work really well. If you are actually enrolled in Samsung's ecosystem, you can get things like your washing machine notifications. You can even start and stop a wash from your wrist, and you can even get your doorbell notifications as well. You've also got things like Samsung Internet, which now allows you to watch YouTube videos from your wrist if you are that way inclined. And with the coming of AI and more accurate voice controls, all of these things that used to be super fiddly on older smartwatches are actually pretty good. Notifications I've also found to work really well. You've got things like Instagram, WhatsApp, calls, they all come through absolutely fine. And speaking of calls, you can of course make and receive calls on this. It's something that I found myself using a lot more on this smartwatch in comparison to any other smartwatch in the past. And it's obviously not a phone replacement, but it's certainly a nice little handy sidekick to have. And sometimes it can be a little bit more convenient than pulling your phone out. One thing that I haven't used as much this year is NFC payments, purely for one reason, and that it's just a little bit of a pain. So the actual payment side of things works really well. You can definitely rely on the Galaxy Watch Ultra if you just want to take it out solo without your phone. But the thing that bugs me is having to put my PIN in every time, not just for payments, but just to access the watch in general. And it's really quite frustrating. I think Samsung need to work out a better way to secure your smartwatch. That's the only real thing that I've got to moan about though. Another thing that works really well is auto pausing and starting workouts. Starting them, it does seem to do okay, but where I really get most impressed during my runs is when I'm waiting at a traffic light and the watch will automatically pause it for me. It's really quite good at that. Now, at the start of the video, I said the Galaxy Watch Ultra could be the best Android smartwatch that you can buy, and then I said that I've changed my mind, and I have. I now think that it is the best Android smartwatch that you can buy for me, and that's because smartwatches are actually deeply personal. That's something that I've come to learn throughout this journey. And I'll back this by saying that, first of all, I don't think any other YouTuber has tested the Galaxy Watch Ultra quite as extensively as I have. You can see from my metrics, I've had this strapped to my wrist for a year. I don't think it's a far cry to say that not only has it changed my life, but you could also argue that it saved my life. It really wasn't looking good for me. I was that out of it. And the Galaxy Watch Ultra really helped me get back on track and not only meet my fitness and health goals, but also exceed them and also help me discover a new hobby. Yes, there are things like Garmin on the market at the moment, and I was actually discussing this with a friend the other day. They've got tons of extra battery life, but you lose out on smart features, and not just smart features, you also lose out on fitness features as well. The Galaxy Watch Ultra, for example, has got that body composition analysis feature, another great feature for tracking your health and keeping on top of your weight. This is something that other smartwatches just simply don't have. Yes, the smart features come at the expense of battery life, but for me, it's a trade-off I'm willing to make. On top of that, the ecosystem for the Galaxy Watch in comparison to things like Garmin, again, is pretty phenomenal. The App Store is improving, more and more developers are making things for the Galaxy Watch Ultra. Then of course you've got all of the watch faces that you can download as well. My overall verdict on the Galaxy Watch Ultra is that I really don't think I'm ever going to recommend any other tech more than I'm going to recommend the Galaxy Watch Ultra to you. It's been life-changing, it's been reliable, and it's already got some major updates which have given it 2 new big features. So big kudos to Samsung. If you want to get yourself some watch faces, do click on the link in the top left or right hand corner now to go to my latest episode of Watch Face Wars. See you soon.